So I'm really excited and honoured to welcome Julie Tara, who's going to talk to us about Nikken, a Japanese health and wellness company, probably the best kept secret in the wellness arena. And Julie is the most phenomenal spokesperson for that company, having been involved, I think it's 22 years now. And really, Julie, you used to be originally a very gifted ballet dancer and then dancing with the Royal Ballet, and then had to come out of that because of a back injury, which went on right up until you were introduced to Nikken, which healed that injury. So life-changing. And I think that's what really interests all of us about the company, that we have these extraordinary products that make such an impact. I know for my family, I've experienced that. And alongside that, you've also created a global health business, really. Huge impact there from your own home while also raising 3 children. So I think it's a great introduction for anyone who's new to Nikken to hear from Julie. And so over to you, Julie Tara.
Thanks, Louise. That's lovely. Thank you so much. Well, I'm so happy to be with you. This is my home in Boulder, Colorado, although I come from Cambridge, England, and I've lived here for a long time. I actually came to Colorado to start a healing center in Estes Park. It was way ahead of its time and unfortunately way undercapitalized. So it went bust after a few years, but it was a very good learning experience, I could say. And it was soon after that I got involved with Nikken. So I've been in natural healing now since I was about, I think, 23 years old, primarily because although I came from a family of doctors, my father, my stepfather, all my stepbrothers were allopathic Western medical doctors. My mother was always very, very sick. She was always ill with physical issues, back issues. Spent a lot of time in Middlesex Hospital in London with her when she was in grafts from hip to shoulder, to under the shoulder. And then I saw just her getting worse and worse. And I think that experience as a child of seeing her taking so many pharmaceutical pills and, in my opinion, being treated like a lab rat, without any responsibility on the side of the doctors for how the pills were affecting her, she became more and more ill until she was mentally incapacitated, put into many different mental hospitals around England, Exeter, York. Gosh, I can remember several of them. They're really scary places. And I thought, this isn't what health is really about. I just thought there's something wrong with this picture. This is not creating health for my mom. And I felt very impotent. So after my career in ballet, I did decide to really focus in on natural health, natural healing, how to help us not just physically be healthy, but mentally and emotionally and spiritually be healthy so that we really thrive on the planet, and healthy in terms of our creativity, our self-expression, and really living the life that we came to live. Really, truly living out loud, shall we say, like Emile Zola spoke of, I came to live out loud. And I think that's really important, especially for the English, because sometimes we're taught when we're very young to not live out loud and to be very quiet and to keep our opinions to ourselves. And I think there are many types of prisons in this world, and a lot of the prisons, of course, we see are external prisons, but the much more difficult prisons are the ones internally, the prisons of the mind, the prisons of the heart. And so I'm always interested to see how can we break out of those prisons and really be free. And so when I found Nikken, I was doing healing work. I was having lovely results with people. I was doing a lot with diet, macrobiotics, energy healing, crystals, shamanism, 5 rhythms dance, yoga, lots of different things I was teaching. But I found that my own life wasn't free, in that I couldn't make enough money to really have the freedom to take my children back to England, for example, to see their grandparents, my mother, and things like that. So I realized that there were limitations even within the work that I was doing. And so one of my passions is actually helping healers and healthcare providers to be free financially, because I think they're the loveliest people on the planet. They're always wanting to help others. and they're really just good, noble, value-driven people, but they have a hard time making money. So I've watched that one too. Like, why is there such a lack of health in their financial arena, whereas you've got, you know, bankers and lawyers who are scrupulous and don't care and they're wealthy? Just felt wrong to me. So when I found Nikken, what really excited me was that the technologies are brilliant. They come from Asia and they work, and nobody has them, so they're unique. They're unique, they're non-invasive, they're non-chemical, they're highly, highly effective and super convenient to use. And that's quite a hard task to find products like that, technologies like that. But it wasn't just the technologies that was so exciting, although they are thrilling, and I wouldn't do Nikken if it wasn't for the technologies that we have. But it was this whole philosophy, this Japanese philosophy of humans being more, humans coming out of their shell and really living a great life. And it was the philosophy of the 5 pillars of health: healthy body, healthy mind, healthy family, healthy society, and also healthy finances. And those 5, I found that really intriguing because I had spent a lot of time working with the healthy body, healthy mind part and healthy family, because my father, as a doctor, said, you know, Julie, you're probably going to have mental illness when you grow up. And I was like, no, thanks. I refuse to take that prognosis. I'm going to learn about health and what keeps the mind really healthy and strong and the emotions healthy and strong. So I really kind of was very upset when he said that. I thought, how dare you give me a sentence like that? You know, it felt like a prison sentence. So I spent a lot of time in those arenas, learning and teaching. I spent a lot of time in society because I love helping people on a mass scale with health, but I had never put focus toward healthy finances. And consequently, I never had it. And it was a real missing piece in my life because it was so inhibiting to myself and my family. And so the fact that Nikken had all 5 pillars in the philosophy, saying that this was a vehicle that we could use, that we could utilize to help the world, to make a big impact in society, help ourselves, our body and mind, ourselves with the technologies, help our families, spread the word and get it out there into the society big time, and make money as a consequence of that, good, healthy money. That was intriguing to me. I was like, hallelujah. Finally, I don't have to sell out on any of my values, any of my ethics. I can live exactly as principled as I have always aimed to live. And I can win by helping others win. And I can actually heal this financial piece, which was the piece I needed healing in at that point. It is true I had a back injury from ballet. It is true that it was hard for me to sit still for long periods of time. My back would ache. And it's amazing that when I use the technologies, you know, my back felt a lot better. Now, can I say the products healed my back? Absolutely not. But what I've learned is that if you give the body back what it needs from nature, and it needs very specific things from nature, it will heal itself. And so this is what we teach people about our technologies, is not that they heal us, but that we innately, we are born to be healthy. We are born to be healthy. So it's just providing the things that are missing out of life and bringing them back into our life that enables us to take that health to a much higher level. And I really believe health is a spiral. We don't know what ultimate health is, you know. I think there's many levels. And so, I mean, what if, you know, health is certainly not the absence of dis-ease, although a lot of people would say that, oh, I'm healthy because I don't have a dis-ease or I don't have a physical infirmity, so I'm healthy. But there's just so many other levels of that, you know. How is life going? Are you being fully expressed and creative? You know, what if real health was something far greater, whereby, you know, you could put out a prayer for peace and somebody on the other side of the world will pick it up right away and say, oh, I know what you're doing right now. You're sending a prayer of peace. You know, that's pretty healthy to me, because I think we're all connected and we've lost our connection. We've lost our realization of that connection. We've become unaware. We've dulled down the senses. And what I love about the technologies is that they help actually our senses become much more heightened. so that physically we feel, much greater sense of well-being, but also emotionally we're far more buoyant and mentally much more focused and able to really focus the mind. And of course, spiritually be more open, connected, forgiving, generous, joyous, loving, and peaceful. And peaceful people, healthy people, generally speaking, are peaceful people. They don't want to fight. In fact, in macrobiotics, our slogan was one peaceful world. And in Nikken, the slogan is humans being more. And they're really very interlinked. And so one of my visions is that as we help people exponentially with these technologies in their lives, and we help people to grow healthy, strong businesses so that they have more freedom, we're going to create a far more peaceful society. And through peace and love and joy, these are much higher frequencies, right, than sadness and anger and depression and angst. And they're far more creative frequencies. We can co-create together in a very, very high level way when we're in the higher frequencies. So if the technologies are helping us to do that, fantastic. We need all the help we can get on this planet at this time. We're at a very powerful time on the planet, a very crucial time, a very interesting time. And, I think it was that Chinese wish, may you be born in interesting times, and that, the challenge, the crisis is also the same character for opportunity. So we are in quite a crisis on a lot of levels. Our environment is in crisis. Our, political structures are often in crisis. People's health is in crisis. We're seeing our children's, their health is worse than our health. Their children, their health is worse than their health. So the generational trickle-down effect is what we're seeing now as children that are, brain cancers at age 5. I just had a gathering here a couple of days ago, and one of the ladies was saying there was, where she lived, where there was all the pesticides on the farms, the children had huge rates of brain cancers, like unprecedented rates. And this is, of course, extremely sobering. This is our future, the children, the children and our environment. And these two need to come together, like the human life forms and the animal life forms and the environment all have to work copacetically together in harmony. And that's how it's designed to be. And Nikken, as a powerful billion-dollar company, is teaching us about why nature helps us to heal and how to get back connected to nature. And we do that very simply. It's not complicated. It's not, you don't have to be some brilliant scientist to understand it. It's simply that we need nature in order to thrive. Of course, we need to eat really well. So Nikken has all natural nutritionals, organic skincare technologies that put things on the body that are natural, organic. I remember starting with organic foods in 1979 in London, and nobody was eating organic foods. I can tell you, nobody was eating organic. It was very difficult to find it. We didn't even have Neal's Yard at that time. This is, way back. Cranks was just sort of starting then. So, organic food is critical. So what I love about the company's technologies is they're the highest quality of anything I found. And in network marketing, there are lots of good companies and good products, but our products, in my opinion, truly are the best. And that's why I've been with this company for 22 years. It's why I have no interest in going anywhere else, because the technologies are so important for our health. So we have some, part of the crisis would be things like obviously food, pesticides, chemicals, GMOs, big problems, but also EMF frequencies are a massive problem now on the planet. And I was just reading yesterday, because one of my guests the other day was using an electric blanket and was not feeling well, not sleeping well. And, my mother used an electric blanket. The only person in my family that used an electric blanket was my mom. And I was like, I wonder if that had anything to do with her feeling so strange and being so depressed and so on and so forth. So I started reading again about this yesterday. I've read about it before: hair dryers, electric blankets, all the ambient electricity, not to mention Wi-Fi now. And it's very serious. It's very serious what's going on, and that affects all of us. So you see, our technologies are not just for people who are sick. Don't go running after everybody, like be an ambulance chaser. I mean, yes, we can help people with broken bones and things that they've been born with, issues. But everybody needs protection from EMF fields, from GMOs, from chemicals. So we work with water, alkaline, microstructured water, the body's 70 to 90% water. We need the right kind of water desperately. So we have the waterfall unit, we have the air unit with negative ion generation, because we need negative ions. They're very uplifting for us. They're strengthening to us physically and very much emotionally. You know, full spectrum light, which of course we all need for the eyes, for the blood behind the eyes is whizzing behind the eyes constantly, needs to be fed light, and we're often malilluminated, especially in the British Isles. You know, it can be cloudy a lot of the time. And then of course we have the magnetic field of the planet, the Earth itself, which is like, it's an amazing, it's like the heartbeat of the Earth. And this is a big one because we are deficient in that field, because it has decreased itself by 50% in the last 500 years. And we are living inside so much more now, not on the land. And we have rubber in our sneakers, and that affects us when we go running, even if we are outside. We're still not connecting fully to the Earth's magnetic field. And we can't live without that field. If that field disappeared today, we'd all be dead within about 10 days. It doesn't take long, right? So gravity is, of course, another, you know, it's a powerful thing, but that we need on this planet to keep us here. But the magnetic field is one of the most illuminating revelations, I'm going to say, of my life, is how much we need the magnetic field, how critical it is for all of us. So, you know, I'm wearing magnetics all the time, power bands, my Kenko seat, I have in my shoes here, I have my little insoles. I wear them all the time. I go to the gym and I wear them because I'm much stronger. I don't fatigue easily. That's why Olympic athletes use our technologies and so forth. So we have that earth energy, and that is one of our most powerful, although everything we have is really powerful, especially when you put it together, the synchronicity and the synergy of it all. We also have the sun's energy, far infrared energy. We need that desperately. We would be dead without that also. So we need far infrared. We can't live without it. That's the ray of light that gives a deep warmth. It ripens the fruit on the tree. It alkalizes the body naturally. We know that disease thrives in an acidic anaerobic environment. And if we shift the internals of the body to an alkaline, oxygenated environment, we are probably not going to get sick very often. Of course, everyone's going to get sick sometimes because your body actually needs that. So your immune system gets a good, boost, has to kick in, and it needs that practice every so often. So it's not bad to have a cold or flu once a year or something. But as you see right now, probably with your friends, probably people who are not Nikken consultants, is they're getting sick all the time. I see it in Boulder, Colorado, a very healthy place, more organic foods eaten here than anywhere else. I see people getting sick with flus and stuff long-term, long-lasting for so long. And it's because the energy field is so weakened. So what we're working with here, when we work with the earth energy, the sun energy, the fire energy, negative ions, the air energy, the water, when we're working with all of this together, what we see is that literally people just thrive. They thrive. I had a woman here the other day who's going to be 80 years old in April. She's been on the products for 10 years. She said, to be honest, Julie, the first sort of 7 months, I wasn't sure if it was doing anything. She said, now, 10 years later, I can tell you I've hardly ever been sick, and I feel at least 10 years younger than I am. And she looks amazing. I mean, she is really a testimony, for being 80. I'm like, wow, I want to be like you when I grow up. So, she really realized all the allergies and the asthma disappeared, the aches and the owies and the lack of sleep and so on and so forth, all gone because she's using our Nikken Wellness Home technologies. So it's so exciting that we have technologies that nobody has, everybody needs. And I really believe that in my heart of hearts, everybody needs this. These are survival tools in a very, very toxic world that is creating a body burden that is too high for people to withstand, which is why we see so much downfall now, physically, emotionally, mentally. We see so many people now on drugs for anxiety and depression and so forth. It's very sad. So we need this. And our job, being that this is how, network marketing, don't be afraid of that. That's a very powerful win-win structure whereby you help others to help others to help others, and you create a ripple effect. You think of a pebble in a pond, and that pebble creates a ripple. And that's what each of us do in this business. And the more people we connect with, the more people we help, the bigger the ripple is. And we can help them with, just being customers. Fantastic. They can go on the website. I had a friend yesterday called and said, I want the water system. I saw your video on YouTube yesterday, or I think Facebook, I put it on, and I want the waterfall. Fabulous. Now, I know that lady needs a lot more of our products than just that. However, it's a great place to start. It's the first time she's been open to actually shifting her diet. And she's really got some big issues. So I was thrilled about that, absolutely thrilled. So we love to have customers. They come through online marketing or just naturally through your work. And then the network is the people that we find that actually want to really make an impact. And that's really who we're looking for. We're looking for people who want to make a difference fundamentally in the world. And the bigger the difference, the better. They want to make their life count for something. And that's really who we're looking to play with. And when we find those people, we ally with them, we connect with them, and we help them to win. We help them to make the difference they really want to make. We help them to influence the world the way they want to influence. We help them to make the income they want to make as a byproduct of service. Income, money comes as a byproduct of service. It doesn't come just because you want it. It becomes because you care and because you help others. And through helping others, the universe supports you. That's how money comes. It comes from the universe, from spirit, from God, but it comes through people, through vehicles, through different ways. And Nikken is the most powerful vehicle I've ever seen to heal that issue. And I think we need that healing. And I think women need that healing very much. Women deserve to make as much as men. They don't, even to this day, make as much as men. And it's just time for that to change. It's time. So more and more women entrepreneurs now are really coming out of the woodwork and saying, you know what? I'm going to make a difference. And with Nikken, we don't say it's not net wish marketing, it's network marketing. It takes work, it takes focus, it takes diligence, it takes love, it takes service, caring for others. And as you do that and you build this network and you help others do the same, this win-win concept is very, very healing for all of us. There's no more competition. Nobody needs to compete with anybody. You can compete with yourself if you want. See how good you can be. But you don't need to compete with anybody else. And that's huge. And then we win together. And we all win together. And if you want to make millions of pounds, you can. You just have to have a big network. The bigger the network, the bigger your income. That's the key. The bigger the network, the bigger the income. Because it actually ends up being a lot of people doing a little bit and a few people doing a lot. And that's the way statistics work. It's about 3% of the world that works in this kind of a way and creates wealth in this sort of a way. So it's a small percentage of the world. Most people are working for others and just getting by. Others are self-employed and they're just getting by too. And if they stop their work, they don't get paid. But our business is very, very different. And you can build it in different countries. And you're very lucky in the UK because you can actually have customers in Africa, Dubai, Israel, Russia, the Ukraine, Bulgaria. You can have customers in any country that the DSL, I think it is, DSL will ship to. As long as they'll ship, you can have business there. And then in all the countries where Nikken is actually open, you can actually have business partners there. So you have an unprecedented opportunity that even I don't have here in America at this time. So you're very blessed. So take advantage of it. And the big key with entrepreneurship is understanding where you're at and what there is to do about it. Really understanding the power of timing. And our timing is impeccable. Our world is in crisis. It needs help. We have an amazing answer for that. Our market penetration is about 0.25%. It's very, very small. Nobody knows about us, and yet our solutions are phenomenal. We see miracles every day with all kinds of issues, and that is extremely fulfilling psychically as well as financially. So, it's understanding where you're at, what you've got, multi-billion-dollar company, nobody knows. It's your job to take it out there, my job to take it out there. Let's do it. So that's my little message for today. I'm sure there's lots more I could say, but I'm going to stop right here and be happy to answer questions. Thank you so much.